This is The Foundation, stories from people who build things, products, services, businesses, how they started, what they're doing now, and where they're going.
Well, good morning, Heidi, here on a Friday, a very end of a busy work week for you. I'd like to think that you'll be able to enjoy the weekend knowing how much plastic waste in the world. Your efforts are all the time. So I'll start off with the question that I do ask. Tell me the foundation of ByFusion.
Well, thank you. It's great to see you, first of all. So thank you. It's great to start the day like this. And you're right, it's been a very, very busy week. I do think about this business and this problem every day, all day long. It's an interesting way that we started. I've always kind of zigzagged around things that have been intriguing to me. And really, design and construction has always been the thing that's gotten me the most excited. The start of ByFusion really began with the problem that I saw on the job site many years ago. I've always wanted to build sustainably, but it was always at a premium, and the product either didn't have the aesthetic that I was going for the project I was working on, or it was a complicated installation, or it had to change the dynamic or what have you, and it was always way more expensive. So I kind of parked that problem in the back of my head, and I just went on with my career. My day job was in software architecture, so I built big software applications for big companies. I did have a successful exit in one of those ventures that I started, and I sold it in beta. So that was great. And then it was about 2015 when we started talking about this plastic waste problem. And I remember I was in New York City and I was walking through Bryant Park and I was like, wait a minute. I wonder if we could use this plastic problem to solve for the challenges I saw on the job site with sustainability. And I dug into it, and here we are.
Here we are. It seems like that was only yesterday, but I think you said it was 2017, right? You were walking through Bryant Park, and were there swirling plastic bags surrounding you, or what was the epiphany?
The epiphany was really twofold. The company I was working for at the time, which was a big company, had just changed the tagline to building a better working world. And I just came from a meeting talking about that. And I was thinking, wow, I think that's great. And I do want to help contribute to the world. That's really where it started. And that immediately took me back to the problem on the job site and this plastic issue. I think I had heard or read a newspaper article or saw something on my LinkedIn feed around plastic waste problem that was about ready to hit us. This was about 2015. So we just started talking about plastic waste at the time. And I thought, plastic's actually a pretty magical material. It's helped us to reduce carbon. It keeps our food safe. It helps to preserve our food better. It helps us to able to deliver it better if there's no breakage. Plastic's doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's cheap to manufacture, it's strong, it's durable, and it's built to last. And I think all of those redeeming qualities that plastic brings are the things that I was trying to extrapolate. How do we take those and take those over to the construction world where there is breakage and rot and damage and cracking? And I'm like, well, how could we take those great things and bring them over to this industry to help solve those problems? And so that's really what it was about.
Well, I like when you say that plastic really isn't the problem, and I'm quoting from your website, it's the planning for its life cycle that really is sort of the challenge.
Exactly.
We all experience plastic from a very young age and don't think about how it accumulates. So tell me how ByFusion is helping close the loop of that life cycle.
Yeah, when I took this on and I determined that we could make it work, because that took many, many years to figure out how to do that. We decided to take a very different approach to helping to solve this problem. So right now in the recycling industry, this water bottle that you just drank out of changes hands 4 or 5 times and goes through various processes before it turns into another water bottle. To me, is bonkers.
Yes.
That's just
true.
something it's just so much time and energy expended to turn the thing into the same thing. And obviously it's not only resource intensive, but it's also complicated because you can't do that in perpetuity forever.
Right.
Plastic molecules are not like alloy or steel molecules. You can't they break down over time. So you can only do that 2 or 3 times before you just it can't work. It doesn't work. And you don't know if it's not going to work until it's gone through multiple stages of that supply chain until you know whether it's going to work or not. So it's very complicated and very broken. So we said, well, let's just not do that. Let's just not add any chemicals to it. Let's not touch the molecular construction or structure of the plastic. Let's just repurpose it into something else and collapse the supply chain and turn it into a commodity that always has value. And that's really what we're about.
That's good. So that leads to the question about ByBlock and your solution for plastic waste is, I'll let you take it from there.
I mean, really, the solution is we view ourselves as a landfill and an incinerator alternative. Obviously, we are big proponents of recycling. I mean, there's been billions of dollars that have been invested in that industry, but we also want to make it more efficient. And so we've developed just got our patent. I shared with you a couple of weeks ago. I'm so excited.
I know. Congratulations.
Thank you. Our patented solution repurposes non-recyclable or landfill-bound plastic into an alternative reusable building material called ByBlock. Now, the cool thing about our process is that we don't use any glues, mortars, or adhesives. It's a zero-waste process, and we don't have to clean or sort or anything, that plastic. So we use all the complicated stuff, the multi-layer packaging and all that good stuff, and we use only steam and compression to produce these ByBlocks, which is really ByBlock's really positioned to be an alternative to hollow cement blocks and 2x4 dimensional lumber.
Okay. So when you say that you don't use any toxins or any adhesives at all, and it's just steam, do you have any tensile strength issues at all, or is it just bond together pretty dramatically?
Pretty dramatically. So the science that we've worked on forever is really how do we isolate that one common component of all plastics to basically turn into its own adhesive without hitting temperatures that releases other stuff. So that's really, we like to call it like a thermal reset process. But we're not melting it. You can still read labels. You can still see nutritional values and logos. And like, that's the great thing. We're not liquefying the plastic, which would cause us to add stuff to it. So that chip bag I put in that ByBlock is still the same chip bag. It's just literally been reformatted to work a different way.
And it sure is a very three-dimensional Jackson Pollock painting, isn't it?
It is for sure.
It's encouraging to hear that you don't have to really go through the labor-intensive hand sorting and separation and the concern with BPA and other toxins. So it's almost like it's a sarcophagus for that.
We've done a lot of testing on environmental panels. As a matter of fact, as soon as something popped out of the machine that was up on the block, I called the guys who do environmental and all the structural testing for building materials in general. And I'm like, this is what I'm doing. This is the product I'm trying to do. This is the place in the market I'm trying to be in. Help me come up with a testing strategy to make sure that we've got all of our I's dotted and T's crossed. So, we've done a lot of testing on the environmental to ensure two things. One, that we are better for the environment than just landfilling it. And then two is like, what about this off-gassing stuff? What about it? Are we contributing to that? So what we learned in going through that process, that coffee bag off-gassing happened then because we're not changing it. Remember, we're not changing it at all.
Not only do you have the product, but you also are working with the technology in cities like Tucson. So it's not only the product, but it's also how to make the block. So let's talk a little bit about what the city of Tucson is doing with ByFusion and you.
I mean, this stuff that we're doing with the city of Tucson is very, very exciting because ultimately, the only way that we are going to solve this plastic waste problem, because let's face it, plastic's not going away.
Right.
It's not going to go away. So we just have to get smarter about it. The only way we're going to solve it is if we solve it locally. If we distribute capabilities in an economically responsible way and ensure that local governments, local communities, big corporations have the ability to take care of that plastic waste at the source and turn it into a resource that can be consumed to better those neighborhoods and communities that they serve. Like, that's really our vision. We envision a world where every community has access to this capability, almost as if it's like the new modern utility. It's just a utility that every community has to have. That's it, plain and simple.
And Tucson is sort of a proving ground in that respect
Exactly.
because you're building, or tell me how far along you are with the plant,
Yeah.
if that's the right word, with other Tucson utilities.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. So we've been supporting Tucson since 2022. We did our first pilot, and it was an overwhelming success. The community really got around it, and everybody's doing their part to capture. Actually, there's so much plastic that's being collected right now. It's been until we get there, it's a little bit of a challenge to keep up. But nonetheless,
I bet.
the building, so the city has invested in this incredible sustainability campus, and we're going to be one of the first to occupy that space outside of city and administration who runs that campus. So I'm super excited about it. It's a brand new construction, so that took a couple of years to get across the line, but we are in the very final stages. Most of the utilities are connected. We've got one more big utility to go, but the roof's on, the building's in, there's drywall in. And we're closing stage of getting our certificate of occupancy and starting to move the equipment in. So the great thing about what this demonstrates is that we're providing a service to the city.
Right.
So the city we allow them the capability of keeping that plastic waste out of the landfill, and they've also committed through our agreement that they use a percentage of the throughput that we manufacture to go back into city construction. Like, that is circularity at its finest, where everyone benefits in the community, not industry. That to us is like the way it should be done. And yes, Dave, this is like Tucson's going to be the model for the rest of the world.
And
But
your agreement with the city is when you said you use the blocks in construction, you're talking about park walls and community enclosures, et cetera.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing a couple housing prototypes too with some local builders. I mean, there's a couple of really big housing applications that we're working on in a couple parts of the world right now. So we look at, we really envision us as a waste to infrastructure. So infrastructure is a pretty broad category, but it can be anything from utility structures to storage to housing.
How high can ByBlock rise and still stay within the context of all the building codes and everything?
Well, good question. So we just finished a big installation in Houston, Texas, where the height of that wall was 15 feet. Now, it's just about engineering. We have gone as high as 10 feet without some additional lateral support. And we had some lateral support mid-wall there too, but it was perfect because it looks great, the way that we integrated that in. But it's just about engineering. That's the great thing about the product, is that it's not a monolithic system. It was designed to work in tandem with traditional building materials, so that if engineering says, hey, given this roof load or this, whatever, this design, you have to add additional headers or reinforcements, and you just add it.
Right, because the block, it's the approximate dimensions of a CMU block, but it's not quite as hollow. It's a little bit more solid. So being able to put on some traditional cladding as well as being able to reinforce it with rebar is even a greater benefit, because you can screw right into the face of it anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. So ByBlock, the way you install it is we leverage post-tensioning. So it is a reinforced product. Like, we can get up to this next generation machine, we can get up to an inch of rebar through it, which is going to be really cool and important because it'll allow us to go higher and easier and faster, build faster and stronger. But it is reinforced, just like hollow cement blocks. So the great thing about it is a mortarless installation, and your floor doesn't need to be level. You actually level your wall at the top through post-tensioning. So it's a very forgiving product. It's very easy to use. It's about 17 pounds lighter than a hollow cement block. It doesn't eat up your hands like that. So it's a much easier product to work with the same kind of, and it doesn't crack or crumble. So you don't have to buy 12% more, because everything's going to come to you exactly intact.
I also enjoyed talking to you about the relationship you had with Patagonia and what you've done or continue to do for them. Would you like to talk a little bit about that relationship?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the great thing is that they're huge environmental supporters, and they do a lot of great things to help. Their environmental stewardship is bar none. I mean, like, it is incredible. But they have just built out a new store in Hobart, Tasmania, and there's no
Have
one
you
in it.
been?
I haven't, but I cannot wait to go. The architect really envisioned leveraging our block in that design. So they created this beautiful design. There's ByBlock is the core of many of the counters and the displays. It's showed very artistically. It's clad with hempcrete. It's just stunningly
Hempcrete.
beautiful.
Now there's a
Yeah.
term I haven't heard. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful design. And it's a great story. I think the best part of it is, Patagonia again has a lot of cleanup efforts, and they do a lot of stuff with community and to help, nature preservation and things of that nature. So there was a big cleanup effort, beach cleanup effort that was done. And we were able to leverage what was collected during that cleanup to make the blocks. So, the stuff that they collected off their beaches are in those blocks, which was great.
Those types of efforts to me sound like something that any builder, any architect, any human being would want to continue to increase in success. What is the greatest impediments these days in regards to sustainability and continued scale, if I can use that word?
Yeah.
For your product and others in a similar niche?
I think that, it's new. Anything new takes some time in R&D and some education. And we've been really focused on technology. And as you know, Dave, like when we first met, I mean, it was like from, okay, the system works, it's operational, it's productionalized, we're ready to go. But now we need to start feeding more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's focus on block deployment. All of the work that we've done to date has been, people coming and asking, and there's been some really interesting projects that we've been able to get involved with that people have come to us. And now it's like, okay, we've got, we've done all kinds of application from, Department of Transportation to Parks and Recreation to commercial projects to we've built houses already. We're on military bases. We've done all of these different applications to ensure we got it right. And now it's like, okay, let's go. I think the impediment right now has just been, we're kind of got to cross that chasm. It's about building capacity and ensuring we can meet big volume orders in a timely way. And so it's all about, okay, the good thing about construction, as you know, is like planning and design happens years before big projects happen. So
Sure.
we can start to work with Tucson coming online and being able to double our capacity and then more cities behind it. The more capacity we build, the more we can really push the product in a great way and in new markets. And then it's just a journey. That's it, Dave. It's just a journey.
Well, sometimes those journeys are a little bit potholed. I hope that's not the case for you in the future. As we finish this conversation, what should I have asked you, or what would you like to say before we close?
Wow. I think you've asked me everything, but I will say that, this next phase of our journey is going to be very exciting. We are getting specified in more and more projects, which is great. We do have some really big commercial projects planned that will be in across America and in Canada, some big commercial ones that we've been specified in, which I'm very excited about, with pretty significant commercial developers. Thank you for all the work that you do and making sure that your audience and your network knows about companies like us and products like ours. And thanks. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for your time and continued success. And I will watch with a keen eye because I believe it's a valuable product and technology that you are trying to let the world know. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
The Foundation is produced by Studio Conover and edited by Brett Euler. Studio Conover is a strategic marketing design firm for manufacturers of building products. Visit studioconover.com for more information.